Good morning, traders. So how do we trade the Dow Jones using Bill Williams? Now, just looking at the weekly quickly, this level that we have at the top here is the critical level that I've been talking about for quite some time. And if you look at the weekly bar, we're kind of forming a rejection off here, which would give you the indication that we're going to move to the downside next week. Now, what I want to do, though, is just want to highlight on the 4-hour. If we look at the Bill Williams alligator, you can see how we have broken through. And the question is, have we broken through and are we retesting? Now, this level here is a level that most retail traders will be watching. It's 25,665. However, I'm a little bit different because I look for the inside tails. There's inside tail, there's inside tail, there's an inside tail, there's an inside tail. Okay, so that to me is a more significant level than this level. So I'm looking at this level of 25620, and you can pretty much round that off to 25600 as a level that needs to give way in order for this to continue to the downside. Okay, so one of the scenarios that is potentially playing out is we've had a solid move up, and now we've had a 1, 2, 3 correction. So we've had an ABC correction on this leg up, which would mean to me I'm looking for a break of that trend line, which happens to be a wedge at the moment. Okay, it happens to be a bull flag, so I'm looking for a break of this level for continuation up. Now, if you look at the 4-hour, you can see how the alligators are sort of coming together. We haven't really had a crossover on the 4-hour yet. We have had price breakthrough, and we've had price come back to test the break. And when I talk about testing the break, I look for a retest of the alligator teeth. That's this red line. And often you also look for the jaws, but then you want the jaws on the top of the teeth. Okay, so that is one possibility that we have broken through, and it's going to break through, and this is not actually a wedge, it's the start of a channel to the downside. Okay, I just want to pick up on the 3-hour. You can see the 3-hour, we've started a crossover here, but we're not pointing to the downside. So if you look at the 1-hour, you'll see we did get through, but we are busy breaking back through the alligator. So the jury for me is out at the moment, whether this is going to roll or whether we are going to hold this and move to the upside. Okay, ideal scenario, I'd like to see a rejection off this level, a move to the downside and form a double bottom, or come back and give me another signal. So here we have an inside bar. Give me another signal on the hour that we're going up, and that would be an indication for a long. Okay, so that being said, this zone between 25665 and 25620 is critical. If that can hold, then I would be looking for an upside move. Okay, we've also got some diversions on the MACD here on the 1-hour. Right, so let's just look at the logical plays. So the first logical play would have been from yesterday, would have been a break of the closing range. And you see we got a break early in the morning, and you could have taken the trade at this break with your stop above the range height. It would have stressed you out during the open, the way that we moved up and down. But alternatively, you could have waited for a retest of the 50 or 60, or even this trend line to look for a short. But your bias would have been short because we had broken this range already. Okay, now using the same theory, you can see how this closing range is exactly the same size as this one, and we have broken to the upside already. So what I'm looking for is a pullback. Okay, anything back to with one of these two levels here would be ideal, although I suppose the bottom level would give us a break to the downside, which would give us confusion. So what we're looking for is just a pullback back to 660, 650, anything in the 650 area. We can get a kind of a pullback to that, get some bullish price action, and then another attempt at breaking this trend line. Okay, now just be warned that it could break out and we could just come and test the high. So in other words, target number 2 here, we come test the high, or we just basically come to the breakout targets and then roll again. Okay, so a lot of indecision on the market at the moment, so you've got to be very careful about what you're doing. Okay, so if we look at it on the 30-minute, you can see, for all intents and purposes, we have come back to test this trend line. And it looks like we're breaking, but I would wait for Europe open to take my trades off that. Okay, again, you can see the 200 moving average playing a role here on the 12-minute as well. So oscillators are grouped to the upside on the 12-minute. So I would really expect us to come back off this level. Okay, whether we, so let me just get rid of all the noise and you'll see what I mean. Okay, so we're looking at the 12-minute. There's one way of looking at it, and then there is this way of looking at it. Okay, so we do have a potential wedge, or alternatively we have a flat top triangle here. So I would expect us to bounce off this level. Don't expect us to jump through here unless something drastic happens overseas. So in other words, the trade war miraculously is sorted out, and I can't see that happening right now. Okay, so futures market is pretty much flat all over the place. So the big question is whether this is a bigger wedge or whether we are looking just for a retest and then we're going to break to the downside. So at this stage, it's not really that clear. Okay, so what I'm looking for is this trend line. This trend line I expect to hold in the morning. I expect this rising wedge here to play out, okay, which would bring me back to the 650 area, 660, 650. Then I'm looking for a long entry at that point. Okay, and ultimately I'm looking for this trend line to break. If this trend line breaks, then I will look for my closing range breakout targets. Okay. Then I'll be looking for basically a retest of this pin bar and then potentially a retest of this level here. Okay, guys, so that's my take on this at the moment. I'm kind of in a 50-50 mode at the moment. I'm not entirely convinced either way of which way we're going to go. Part of me is also saying that we're probably just going to range sideways. But anyway, the best thing to do is just work off something like the 30-minute and keep this trend line in check. Get rid of as much noise as possible, and just look for a second signal. So this here indecision bar with engulfing bar, so that was a signal, okay, but not really. You want something that really stands out at you. I mean, if you look here, you can see you've got 3 signals here to the downside. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking for. At the moment, there's too much barbed wire for me, so there's nothing really going on. Okay, so that's my take on this. Really looking for some kind of a pullback, and I'm looking for a second signal on the hour. So that's a nice inside bar. I'm looking for something similar to indicate a move to the upside, and then I'm looking for a break of this trend line. We get an hourly break of this trend line, then this is definitely a wedge, and we can then start looking for these pin bars here as a level. So pretty much every pin bar, so every tail that you see there's another pin bar there, there's a tail, and then that top. Those are your targets. Okay, anyway guys, hope it helps. Stay safe, keep those stops really tight, and I'll catch up with you guys later. Enjoy the day. Cheers.